Of charred bodies and a ground-to-air missile attack from Eastern Europe dominated television screens while photographers snapped pictures of a grinning Mr. Obama holding a toddler at the restaurant. The presidential motorcade was later filmed pulling up to Trump Place Apartments for his first fundraiser, end quote. Joining me now for more on the president's response, Julie Roginski, Fox News contributor and former political advisor to Senator Frank Lautenberg, and Chris Wilson, Republican pollster and former executive director for the Texas Republican Party. Julie, the optics don't seem to be sitting well with even liberals now.
Not good. I mean, I'm a liberal, and I certainly don't think he's doing the right thing here. Look, at the end of the day, the White House is right. Of course, they can monitor the situation. There's not much the president can do from wherever he is that he can't do from the White House and vice versa. But what happened over Ukraine is so appalling, not to mention what's going on in the Middle East right now, that, again, that image of charred bodies, that image of missiles shooting down Dutch nationals, I believe there's an American national on the plane as well. You know, that's a PR problem that the president is creating for himself that he doesn't need to. That it's, you know, perception is reality, and sometimes reality becomes perception. In this case, I think they're doing the wrong thing. It just seems
to be the same story, because the night that Benghazi happened, Chris, he went to Las Vegas for a fundraiser. Now we have him continuing on with the fundraisers here in New York on the day of the Ukraine. At the same time, when he didn't go to the border in Texas the week before, he said he didn't like photo ops. So that's why he didn't go. So which one is it?
I'm not sure I can sit here and defend his ability to manage the optics. The reality is what the last few weeks have shown us is what happens when the tragic results of a president abdicating. And I think abdicate is the right word here, is responsibility on foreign policy. If you contrast the way Obama's handled the situation of the Ukrainian plane being shot down and that of the way Ronald Reagan handled the Korean jetliner being shot down by the Soviet Union, it's ridiculous in terms of how poorly the Obama administration has handled this. And in fact, today, the way you phrased it, I think, is accurate, that he'd stepped up the rhetoric. And to call him stepping up the rhetoric, the speech today is just absolutely tragic. When this happened with Reagan, it took 4 days. You got to remember how slowly the information traveled back in the early 1980s. But it took 4 days, and he said, Russia, we are not going to stand for this. He called them out for it, and immediately did exactly what Mike Rogers has called for the U.S. to start doing right now.
So, Julie, how would you respond to that? Because even social media now, they're noticing very snarky comments about the president. And here, he's going to go on another 3-day trip out to the West Coast, and it's all fundraisers.
Well, look, you know, to your point about what Ronald Reagan did or didn't do, or the president doing or is not going to do, I think actions speak louder than words. And I think what the president has been trying to do, unsuccessfully, I might add, because his European allies won't go along with us, is trying to establish more serious sanctions on the Russians. What Mike Rogers is suggesting is not the right solution. The right solution would be to put sanctions on 100 or 50 of the people closest to Putin, prevent them from coming into the U.S., prevent them from moving their money to the EU.
But doesn't that happen by the United States leader pressuring the European leaders a little bit more?
Not when Russia controls a third of European gas, not when Russian real estate is essentially Russian money is essentially boiling the London real estate market. No, and it's up to the Europeans to work with the Russians as well on this. We can't force feed them into their own economy. And so, you know, look, it was a lot easier back when Reagan went. We're no longer living in a bipolar society.
Reagan was a leader in the world, and Obama is not a leader in the world. The other countries have lost respect to us.
Reagan ended the Cold War.
There's a lot of things that ended the Cold War. Ronald Reagan was not the only one that did. The Russians also killed their own economy.
He certainly took a stand, and people never questioned his capability to show his leadership in a situation.
I'll tell you something. It's very hard for Barack Obama or any President Bush were here today to go to the Europeans and say, go along with me on this when the Russian concerns.
I know, but we're changing the topic a little bit. Right. He could, in many instances, not do the fundraisers and at least try to change
I agree with you on that.
Some of the optics.
I agree with you on that.
He's going to do it throughout the rest of the week. All right, I got to wrap it there. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
So an IRS official raising the